the time to listen to this recording, and that you're doing so in the right way for you at this moment. Please enjoy.
I suppose if I just say to you the word beauty, what does it conjure up?
Boy George. Quiggins is a shop in Liverpool that was like lots of little stalls that was all subculture and like very lo-fi, like really like theatres where you only fit about 20 people into the room and everything's falling apart and everything's put together with like gaffer tape, that sort of thing, because it feels really honest. And people who look like a theatre that's been put together with gaffer tape. Things that are like broken, and it doesn't matter if they're functioning or functioning because no one's thinking that way. You're just like, look at all of our stuff. Yeah. It started with Boy George when I was a kid. I absolutely loved Boy George. And it wasn't like, oh, is he a boy or a girl? It was just, this is Boy George and Boy George is important. And the other, so I kind of had a crush on him, if you want to, whatever it is that kids have. But I also had a crush on Lindsay Lusardi, if you remember her. She was a Page 3 girl. And I think a telling thing is that my family just thought it was dead funny that I had a crush on Lindsay Lusardi when I was a toddler. They weren't going, you can't do that. And that's not because they're wonderfully, not homophobic. They're just like funny things, you know? So it was like, even immediately, that distinction between the beauty that was in my head because of all the messages from society, that was sort of conjured up the Lindsay Lusardi thing, I think, because I thought she's perfect at attracting men. All the men love her. I can't remember what I was thinking when I was 2. But Boy George, like that's my beauty. That's the one that I definitely believe. And when I'm like mentally well, that's the one that I really luxuriate in. Like my house looks like that, everything. And when I'm somewhere like I used to, because we've had COVID, but used to spend a lot of time in Travelodge and bloody Premier Inn and Travelodge, from touring, and the picture above the bed. I'm so distraught about this. The picture above the bed in Travelodge rooms is the same everywhere. There's the exact same picture, and it's just like a red sort of circle, and it just could not be more meaningless. I tried so hard to put meaning into it, just sat there bored. And that's definitely like a lack of beauty, is that. It just feels like it's not from any human. It's, it sort of kills me soul. But then I come back, then I go into a kind of like old school charity shop who hasn't learned to put all the colours together yet and just puts it all everywhere. And the pricing is all crazy like that. And I feel happy again, like on tour, I'd find a charity shop and have a gab with the woman. And it's like, even though it's kind of small talk, it's weird small talk and sort of encapsulates a whole life like in one bit. So that then I feel okay again. Was the answer to that meant to be I don't know?
No, I think it is. It's such a hard word to sum up.
Beautiful. It's because it's been stolen, isn't it? It's been stolen by adverts because, we all like, it's so easy to go, what do people want? Truth and beauty. Which one's easier? Beauty, because we make them feel bad. It's hard to make people feel bad for not representing their truth properly, because that's not really something that we even do. And it's not important in society because it doesn't make money as easy as, oh, you're awful for having early legs.
I mean, society tells us. I was doing some research into it, and I looked at makeup, and the majority of makeups we've got a foundation here that'll give you a flawless airbrushed finish.
Oh yeah, oh my God, we're feeling ashamed because we've got pores in our face. It's insane. Like it's like what?
And I must buy a pair of Spanx that take away every possible lump and bump that I've had from having my amazing children.
Yeah.
And I've got to do all of this to conform to what?
Yeah. Yeah, what do you want us to be like? Because there's no there isn't really an ideal, is there? It's just that it's organically built on top of the original first things they wanted us to buy, and it's just layered until, because they're like, oh no, what, we haven't got anything left. People are looking perfect. I know, pause. Like it's just kept. It's still just looking for something that you can, make people buy stuff for. Like you're not allowed to be the age that you are. That's insane. Like, yeah.
For the first time ever, I've got natural coloured hair in as many years as I can remember, because I have to say I had unnatural colours, because I never even had brown in my hair or blonde. It was every colour of the rainbow, from pastel to neon. And I've all of a sudden got no colour in my hair, and it's natural. And there's a bit of it that's gone, but I really like this colour.
Yeah.
And it now makes a statement about me that I'm not, that I wasn't happy with who I was. But then you get people going, well, have you thought about dyeing the grey hair? And you go, it's not grey.
Piss off. Yeah. Piss right off. Yeah. It's like that. There was, what's her name? Vivienne Westwood said that she dyed her hair so that people would know that she wasn't trying to be a mainstream thing. Like she didn't want to be read as someone who was trying to be this mainstream thing. She was like instantly going, look, I'm outside of it. All of your judgments about whether I've got pores or whether I've got this or whether I've got that, I'm not part of that. Look at my hair. And when I read, this was years and years ago, when I read that, I was like, that's the secret. Don't let them know. Don't let them know that, we can't be, because I thought that I was failing by not being the the thing that you're meant to be, with no pause and all of that. Oh no, I'm failing at it. I don't want people to realize. But as it's slowly gone, I've gone, it's okay that I wasn't failing at it. I wasn't interested in it. I wasn't brought up to be interested in it. It was just suddenly there on my doorstep going, let me in, I'm important. And so so then I was like, yeah, brilliant, I can have all these my colours there and be out of the race, But then when you said that about then grey hair, it feels like, oh yeah, of course, because by I'm out of the race, I'm still taking notice of the race. I'm still taking notice of the thing we're meant to be doing. And so stepping away from that and going, this is my actual colours of hair, maybe that's true freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying any of everything is good or bad or anything. It's just interesting to be like, maybe that's the next step.
But I think that word you use is really interesting, that word of freedom.
Yeah.
So where do you think freedom and beauty, because we've talked about the constraints of beauty, the feeling that you have to obviously comply with, we can't have pores, we can't have, woe betide, we've got a wrinkle or a bag.
Yeah.
I've got droopy eye. My eyelids are droopy. I'm positive I can get something done with them. What is it about freedom that allows us this?
I think it's because there's the freedom from, so there's I might as well just state it nice and clearly, the advert stuff for the sake of the art. There's a false, so there's a kind of toxic sense of beauty, which is invented by adverts giving us false needs, saying that you're not allowed to have pores in your face, all of this mad stuff. You're not allowed to be the age you are, and that's the sense of beauty that a lot of the time. Well, I mean, for one thing, it kills people. It outright kills people, and it takes a long time to realize that you don't need to do that. And some people never ever get to realize that, because maybe they're in a situation where sometimes people do need to do that. We're not like free from, it's not like every woman has got the money to do what she wants. We're still in that. But yeah, so there's that horrible toxic idea of beauty, and when we get free from that, it's that being free being free from something is beautiful. Like actual beautiful. And so that's the sense of freedom to begin with. And then once you're free from that, there's so many other senses of freedom. It's like boom, 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 boom. You just get to be everything you want to be, because you can express yourself in a genuine way. And looking on the outside, what you look like on the inside, you know, what you feel. And I know that that's often to do with gender, and rightly so. But for me, it's like I feel really amazing if I look like a space lady, like I look like you know, like half tree, half bear, whatever it is that, you know. And that isn't me going, oh, you know, that hot stupid thing that people say about gender roles, oh, I want to be a helicopter. I don't mean that. I mean this for genuine. It makes me, as someone who gets awful mental health episodes, it makes me feel good and sort of okay. And that's the sort of beauty that is like, that's why it's like freedom is so tied up in it, is because the freedom to be beautiful is something that's like really hard, and you know, and being able to even point at something and say that's beautiful, like, you know, like where I'm from, you couldn't do that. I remember the first time I said the sunset was beautiful, and it was someone who's famous now, a poet, but he was like taking the piss out of me and it was like, you're a poet and you're taking the piss out of me for that, but it's true, you're not allowed to go, you know, that's beautiful. But now I do all the time. Yeah, the idea of perfection is nonsense, and it gets in the way, because that is the opposite. It's the type of beauty that we're aiming for, which is, yeah, is the opposite of what beauty is, which is really sad, because it means that it's in the way of real beauty. It feels like we should just have a different word. Can we just spell it differently?
Yeah, it's like people say, oh, their beauty's effortless, but then you find out that they're caked up with makeup and they'll only be photographed a particular way. That's not effortless. That's a lot of bloody hard work.
Yeah, people don't want to see how damaging it is.
But that's superficial, and
yeah,
I think it's
totally understandable as well when people. I think the thing is that it's people think that you can't slag something off, like without saying that the people, I totally understand it, and I do it. I was going to put foundation on for this. You know, it's you know, we live in the world of constant messages, so no wonder, you know, we obsess over it.
Well, exactly. I mean, we did it before. Even though before you said about the foundation, you went to sort your hair up.
Yeah, have a look and let's see what I look like. And it should be totally like not. It shouldn't be a valued thing. It shouldn't be like, I don't even think that everything needs to be beautiful. It's okay for things to just be not beautiful. It's because we put so much stakes in it that like we should just stop assessing everything with so much judgment, because it only matters if it's like functional for the moment. It doesn't matter if, you know, outside is beautiful or not, because she's not doing an interview to be a model right now. You know, like it's often irrelevant. Like body positivity, like I don't think you need to be positive about your body. You can just be like, oh well, it just exists. You know, it's like we don't have to go, oh, like Jackie's stump. Oh, that's very giving away who it is, that, isn't it? You don't have to be like. People often are like, oh, you know, oh, you're so beautiful despite your disability. And it's like, oh, piss off. Like, one, I don't need to be beautiful right now. I'm writing something that's beautiful. Shut up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you know, it's subjective, you know, it's just ridiculous. You don't need to fancy my stump to think that I'm a beautiful person. And I'm often not.
I'm just going to backtrack before we talk about the
beauty.
No,
I've also realised I've gone on for hours, haven't I?
The beauty of your stump.
Yes.
You said you considered putting makeup on. What would that have brought to the conversation that no foundation would? Does that make sense? Would that have brought a different Jackie?
Oh, if
you'd put makeup on,
yeah,
would that have brought a different Jackie?
Oh, I see. Nothing to do with the stump.
Not yet. We're going before the stump.
Yeah. Oh God, you know.
So if you put foundation,
like how is that different?
Yeah, if you put foundation on,
if I put foundation on, the difference would probably be I'd tell you that I'd done it and think it was funny. Like I'm not that trapped by it. Well, I think it would actually, what it is that it would be if it was a different person. If it was like speaking to someone who represented something to me, like if it was talking to someone who might give me a job in London, like, or might, it's a very, I think I'm just kind of don't know what I'm talking about here now. I don't know.
No, but I mean,
got lost in my own brain.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we probably would have laughed about it because, as you say, this is going out audio only. So nobody else except me would have seen it. But I was wondering.
I think that, like me putting foundation on, it's a slippery slope. I think that's where it is that I'm either kind of being me or start doing it. And it's like, okay, well, I'll put foundation on. And then the last 10 minutes before the phone call would end up me putting false eyelashes on or something, like I'd get into it and then it'd be like, I tell you what, I'll just tell them that I've got to go off the phone. And it can lead to getting into that whole world of it. And it's better for me to just be me and not worry about any of it. Just because for me, I get into slippery slopes,
That's it. But
I think there's another version of doing it where it's like I am putting foundation on and lashes and stuff, but the foundation is there so that there's no distraction on my face, so that you look at the rainbow here. That's a good way of putting foundation on, is because you created a little bit of art on your face and you want them to look at that. And that's when I'm trying to be the looking on the outside as I do on the inside, as opposed to trying to get heterosexual men to fancy me.
No, so do you use makeup to like extend a personality?
It's me. It's the bit of me that is the same as my false leg, like that. It's this bit of me that is going. I really enjoy my freedom from like certain mainstream things, and so I'm really going to go for it. I think it's that bit of me that it represents, and that's everywhere in my life. All the tattoos and stuff is the freedom that's come from really, really enjoying usurping expectation, and not in an angry way, just in a I guess kind of fluffy punk sort of way.
Expectations, your expectations or society's?
Oh, like the normal, the usual normal, the mainstream expectation. Like, things like you're going to feel sad about having one leg, like usurping that expectation. Or you think, you should hide this. All of these things I'm sort of getting from like adverts and like, I don't know, it just kind of gets into you by osmosis, doesn't it? Like the kind of what you think you're meant to do. And reacting to that in a cheeky little, just in a cheeky little way where I'm getting away with it. We all know that she's not doing what she's meant to be doing, but okay, we'll go with it like that.
There's nobody, the only person really that says you couldn't do this is you. And you go, do you know what? This makes me happy. And to you, it's beautiful. And I mean, your false leg is amazingly beautiful.
Mm.
And
yeah.
Did that take a long time to develop, or did you just keep adding it?
Yeah, it was the same as like talking about like hair dye. People think that you like when you've got rainbow hair that you spend ages on it, but it's just like I'd go, oh, I'm a bit drunk, I'll add a bit of blue to my hair. Same with me, like I'd just kind of go, look at that, glow in the dark star on this person's bedroom. Can I glue this to my leg? Yeah, like that. Just adding shit. It's like rolling it in glue and then rolling it in a really happy bedsit.
But that must make that leg full of so many memories as well.
Yeah.
So that
well,
leg's
it's gone now. Yeah.
No.
That's the thing. It's got. Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't use it anymore.
But
so
it's not gone. It's not gone. It's not usable.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Well, it's not beautiful anymore because the beauty was in the use. It wasn't just like in the visual. It's not like looking at something in a gallery. It was beautiful because it was about me going, I'm not ashamed of this, or I'm not trying to make this look like a human leg, which is what like doctors always think you want to do. And that was the beauty in it. But now it's a thing of the past. I mean, it's got bittersweet sort of value to it, but not value, bittersweet sort of feeling to it. But yeah, I don't think it feels beautiful anymore. It feels like a sad object. So I want to use it. It's the new version might become the wheelchair. Everyone is saying to me, "Oh, you need to decorate your wheelchair like you decorated your leg," but that's what people expect me to do, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not constrained by always usurping expectation, but it just doesn't feel. It feels a bit like a cliche of myself, like a parody of myself. I don't want people to ever go like this. Oh. At me, because I'm so filled with stuff that people go, oh, because I'm all of the things. Well, the general things of like, oh, you're working class, with being all around theatre people and stuff like that.
Oh,
or like, oh, even stupid stuff like I'm short, and people do a lot of R at me, so I do a lot of doing stuff to stop them.
It is. It's. I think one of the things you just say, it's as though you can't have this word attached to you because of XYZ.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's XYZ that makes me beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like a lot like the gender feels like a good metaphor for it, because people I've heard people saying, I don't want to be read as a female trying to look like a good female, right? I want to be read as I don't want you to attach your gender to me, and then I want you to see what I'm doing, what I'm wearing, and go, that's interesting, like that's a comment on gender, or that's that's just not coming from that place of trying to be the gender that we're meant to be, or whatever. Not it's not from the binary, it's from a different place. And it's the same. I don't want to be read as someone who is trying to be a good disabled person, like the good immigrant, that thing. It's like, trying to be a good disabled person who doesn't ask for too much. It's all these things. I just want to. Beauty for me is getting away from them.
Yeah.
Beauty is different for everyone. Should I tell you about
come on,
sex thing? So when after I had my leg off, I went to a thing in the gallery, Manchester Gallery, right? And it was a textiles exhibit. And as everyone was telling me to go to it, and it was like a textiles exhibit in a gallery, like it sounded rubbish. And so I went to it, and it made me cry my heart out with seeing myself represented, and that feels like beauty. I was crying my heart out about everything at that time, fair enough, it just had my leg off. But it was so, I'll tell you what it looked like. It was like a big, sort of like a monster with lots of different arms, think sort of octopus made out of cotton, every colour of the universe. Ones that you feel like you probably don't often see, in every texture, and it wasn't inside a frame. It was climbing all over the gallery. It sounds like a fever dream now. It was like climbing all over the gallery, and it was in the bits touching the bits that you're not meant to touch, and all of that. So that's I want to do that. I always want to touch the bits that you're not meant to touch. And so I'm not going to. I won't say who it is, but then I went home and took some illegal drugs. We'll put that there. It's not for everyone. Don't do it. But and had sex for the first time after having my leg off, and because of the drugs and because of the trauma and everything that I'd gone through, it felt like I was having sex with this big monstery, octopusy thing, and the person I was having sex with thought that as well. And it was like that. When you said at the start, when you said think of beauty, that's what I think of really. But it was a sex thing, so I didn't say it first. But it was like having sex with a textiles exhibit after having my leg off, and it gave me the wonderful sense of freedom and could be me again. So that's what I really think is beauty. It's like the freedom to do that and feel that is brilliant. Yeah.
But it's allowing you to be you.
Yeah, and have sex which you don't expect, you know.
Oh,
After
what?
I've
What?
so many people
A
were just
person,
like,
a
your
person
law
with
is gone.
a person with one leg had sex.
There was a fella in the hospital said to, or didn't know, another patient said to me, "Oh God, it's going to be terrible for you now, isn't it? Because part of a woman's a law is their legs, sexy legs, and you've had one of them off." I know it didn't hurt me because it was from a different place. It was, I didn't feel like it was really me being criticised, but like someone else who was into that. Because I was already, by the time I had my leg off, I was already into odd beauty. I was fine, you know, I was escaped it. But yeah, it's like, isn't that mad to think that?
But it's mad to think that somebody would feel that a woman's lost some of that appeal.
Yeah.
And you think, but
because there's still one left, and there's still boobs, and there's bums, and there's all sorts.
Do you not realise that I, as myself, may feel so much better about myself now because that part of me that was giving me all these problems and all this pain is now gone.
And also because it's gone, and that means that you're outside of this whole thing, you know, the race to be the perfect woman. If you're outside of that, then people know that you've got pores if you've had your leg off. Basically, they know you're human, so you're never going to be, you know, this so-called perfect. So you don't have to try for it, which is like feels like metaphor for, like we were saying about having grey hair and going, actually, this is me.
And I remember, I've seen you live, and I can remember the sort, like the shuffling in the seats where all of a sudden you announce that you're going to draw faces on your stump.
Yeah,
and you can feel the audience going, she's going to do what? She's going, oh no, I could cope with the leg being there, but
you're not allowed to become David Bowie.
No, but you're like, we were talking about kintsugi before, and all of a sudden you're like, but you're taking this bit that some people may perceive as an imperfection, and you're making it beautiful.
Well, it's beautiful because it's so incredibly absurd. That's it. Is that people? The only way out. I was like, how do you? Because as a performer, like I am quite people pleasing, even though I do stuff that is so, you know, it's the opposite of people pleasing. But I'm still always thinking about, you know, what the audience are thinking and stuff. And so it's like they're uncomfortable about it, and then you make them more uncomfortable about it, and then they go, it's just absurd, it's ridiculous, and they're like, oh. So I hope by that, it's sort of, for me, it makes it beautiful. I don't think it's necessarily beautiful for them, but at least they might sort of laugh at it, and when you're laughing, it brings some of the tension of it away. So maybe the next one-legged person you see who has been made to feel ashamed for having one leg and is trying to pretend they've got two flesh legs, maybe you'll be a bit cool about it and a bit like laid back about it, and they'll get that vibe off you, and it'll just make the world a nice place. And it also is the most natural thing in the world to do, was to draw a face on it. There was no way that stump wasn't going to get like googly eyes stuck onto it at some point. It just happens within seconds, you know, because it looked like a mouth. The sort of weird heel bit looked like a mouth. So.
No, I remember you saying
but that's the thing that's gone. Actually, I can't do that now because it's so, you know, with everything that's happened, it's so incredibly the most painful thing. You know, it's beyond bearable now, and it has been for like well over a year, just like 24/7. So all of that fun that came from that, and all of the usurping expectation is just gone now. It's like I don't know what to, and also there's doctors not listening, and that is a big part of not feeling okay about it. So there's so in the same way that there was no way that my stump was not getting googly eyes put on it, like that was definitely going to happen. Now googly eyes are definitely not going to happen. It's like it's become a state of sort of sadness and loss instead of fun. Yeah.
So it's like, as well as losing the use of the false leg, which was that huge part of you, that the extra bit of fun that came when the false leg wasn't there, with the googly eyes and the David Bowie and everything. You said, like, that must feel really funny, not funny haha, but funny to actually say this piece that was so beautiful to me,
it's just gone. It's the attitude that's gone. Yeah, but I mean, it is, and it's been really, really shit. and continues to be, but things like this, like I'm not sucking up to you at all. Just pure honesty. It's like things like this, like being heard, it gets me closer to being in that position where I feel sort of confidence and enough to stick googly eyes to it. You know what I mean? It's not being heard has made me feel like I can't be me, because my self-worth has gone lower and lower. And so it means that all of the fun bits and the dressing as a bear and whatever, them bits have gone. So being heard is important to get that back. It's mad that we've just got one word for it. It's like love is a totally different concept, in our brains to other people. And it's so many of the important ones we just don't really talk about.
And it's such a huge one that can have such toxic undertones.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely, yeah. There's not a day goes by that I don't feel like a bit shit about being fat. And I'm so free from things. And yet that's the getting in. I haven't got this mix with people who ever say that. I'm in a beautiful bubble where like everyone I know thinks that that's a toxic way of thinking, or like knows that we want to get away from that. And yet it's still there, My mum taught me about all of this Boy George tramps. We used to call them tramps back then, and tramps being totally beautiful. And yet my mum was a Keep Fit instructor, and even now she's like 63 and she's always on a diet. And it's and it's always, and some of it she gets her hair done a lot, and it's like, yeah, that's really good, and that's she's doing that in a really positive way, like she feels good about it. But I don't think the diet, if that feels like I just think we attach value to things so much when we don't need to. Yeah, it's like people come up and say, oh, there's less of you in existence. Brilliant, well done. It's like, it's okay. There's just less flesh. Yeah.
Do you feel like to some people, does it matter? I'm here, I'm me. I'm trying my damnedest to live my best life.
But even all of that you shouldn't have to have that just because like you're not a size 8. It's like, oh, but I'm doing all this stuff, should it matter? It's like, no. It's fine to be fat. It's just, that's it. Rather than like we've got to counter it in some way. Like, or like the idea that you've got to go, oh, I'm fat, but like I am really trying to not be fat. Or, like they'd like to go to immigrants, like we've got to be apologetic about it.
Well, I was at a caravan last week and I put on a swim dress for being on the veranda, and I put a pair of shorts over. It's got a skirt on it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing this for?
And also someone looking at you, isn't that, it might be like someone going like, isn't that brilliant that I'm going to do that now? I'm going to go in and put my swimsuit on. Like it can be brilliant to be doing that, being unashamed or being unabashed about stuff that you shouldn't be ashamed of in the first place, but obviously we do. So that can be great, but it's just that it's so inbuilt, isn't it? It's so ingrained. It's in our bones, and it's awful. I like that I've got thin wrists. Who gives a shit? Like, I've got like quite bony wrists, and I enjoy that about once a day. Idiotic,
Have you got something within arm's reach that you think is beautiful, but somebody else might go, what the fuck?
Yeah. So this ashtray is my friend made it for me, and she's someone who gets me loads and loads of presents. And I think that she would think that it wasn't much of a, but she made it, so I think that's really lovely. And also, it's just because I've always got it now, like wherever I am in the house, I bring the ashtray with me, and I've always had that. And I just, and it's broke. I'm like, that, look, isn't it brilliant? It's broke. And I think it's, I do think it's beautiful. That everything, like as soon as you say it, it's like, because you can see it and everything. I really like that I've still got this bit inside myself. I thought this had gone. Yeah. Like it makes me want to cry. But like, there's so much stuff, like that's beautiful. I feel like I want to have sex with it, like the octopus. It's just loads. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like making something for a mate is that's freeing, because especially if you do like art for a job, it's like you because they'll got what they love, and you can just do it, and it's not this like, you don't have to fill any bloody forms in about it, and it can be crap. And when you do it and something goes wrong in it and you've got to cross out the word, you know that they're looking at that with warmth, and they think it's funny that you've messed up on it, and that like all the words are like you couldn't fit it in, so you've had to make all the words go up the sides. And I think it's just such a nice thing to think about what a friend would think about that.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think as well, when somebody's taken the time to do that for you and thought of you specifically in mind, that's beautiful.
It really is, isn't it? And it makes you cry.
Yeah. That's it. And you go, my God. And when somebody's thought so much and they go,
maybe that's it, is that beauty comes from often interactions between people as opposed to just a person stood there without any pause. Like it's about human interaction, really. There's just different types of beauty, isn't it? It's not more. It's like you can definitely just stand and enjoy. I can't stand and enjoy it. I sit and enjoy something on your own. But then another person, sometimes it takes away from it. I'm not sure. Advent calendars for everyone one year. And like some of them were, anyway, I made Advent calendars for like everyone one year. And one of my friends who like I didn't even know her that well at the time. But anyway, she's still got it, and this is like 15 years on or something, 10 years on. So every Christmas it comes up on Facebook, and that gets me, even though it's me that bloody did it. Like, it's not visually beautiful. Oh, I won't do the apologies. That's ridiculous. It is just
who said it's not?
It's the memory. It's someone being touched by something. I think. But often I make things for people in like in manic times, so I don't remember doing it, and then the person feels awful because I didn't remember doing it. But it's because like I was mad. And it doesn't mean any less, because people go like, oh, when you're mad, that's not you. And it's like, well, that's not, it is, isn't it? But
it is. It's just the you at that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for being really patient and listening to like a lot of, I have to get through the nonsense to get to something that actually means something sometimes.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this dialogue. If you would like any more information about the other podcasts, they're all available in the attachments from this podcast. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to any feedback that you may have about them. Thank you again so much.